Yes, our people talk say person wey get health na everything na him get ẹni bá lálàáfíà ohun gbogbo ló ní, that is to say health na him be wealth. We welcome you to yet another fantastic episode on top Health Matter, where Dr. Bati don dey gidigba with the Alejo wey carry come and our slimy who go dey talk about Health Matter. Good morning everybody in the house.
Yeah, good morning. Let me take it from where you stopped, sir. Good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning, doctor.
Chief.
Good morning, ma.
once more. Yeah, good morning, viewers at home and around the world. We are back today, and with us today, we have a specialist in the house, in the person of Dr. Mrs. Jumoke Koyejo. She is a consultant psychiatrist working with Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba here in Lagos. Okay, today we'll be looking at a very important topic: stress and stress management. Okay, now I want to believe that we all know, or we have heard at one time or the other, people making the phrases, I'm stressed up, I'm under stress.
Like a national anthem.
Yes. So everybody, because we have a lot of stressors in the society today, ranging from the heavy traffic that we usually encounter almost on daily basis on the street of Lagos and some other cities in Nigeria, to the financial crisis that sometimes we get into, okay? The list is endless, okay? But this morning, we have an opportunity of looking at stress and hearing what we can do as individuals to cope when we have these challenges, okay? What is stress? Stress is our body's response to pressures from a situation or a life event, oftentimes called stressors, okay? Now, a lot of us may not know that stress also has a positive aspect. When we talk about stress, a lot of people think that stress has to do with something negative. Some form of stress can actually bring about a positive outlook or result in our lives, okay? But some of them are equally detrimental to our health and can cause a lifelong complications. Talking about some of the complications that can occur as a result of chronic stress, ranging from hypertension, diabetes, and what have you. But today, to teach us more, to stress all we need to do, is an expert in the house. Chief, I want to use the floor for you at this stage. Yeah. Thank you once more for coming around.
Thank you very much, Anya. You said so much about stress, actually.
Thank you very much.
Well, WHO calls stress the health epidemic of the 21st century. That means it's everywhere and nobody is actually left out. And I'll start by defining what stress is. It's simply the body's responses to changes that that creates demands on us. And that means these changes there are various changes, and when you say something is stressful, there are several things that could cause it. Positive things, if we misinterpret them, we could see them as stress. Stress is unavoidable. They are normal components of daily human living. And in small quantities, I tell you, we get along with stress. They are good. And I said in small quantities.
Okay, because I was about
yes, it motivates you. It helps you to become more productive. And so those are the things that the
positive
aspect of stress. The businessman under constant pressure, the athletes, even coming here today, looking forward today.
Stress, yeah.
It's demanding for me, but it creates a positive. It's a positive thing because it would soon go off. And for us to look at stress, there's a part called events and our body response to such events. So even your promotion, if you interpret it it could be interpreted as stress. The birth of a child. Okay, if you probably tell Dr. Bat now that his wife is pregnant and she's going to deliver 5 babies.
It's supposed to be a good news, but it could be stress to him.
Yeah, because it's the interpretation of it. So they're the part of events, and sometimes we can't change events that occur to because Lagos traffic is those funny things we see on the way. They're normal things that you don't have power over. Yes, so it's an interpretation of those things that actually matter and determines whether they are stressful or not. When we can cope with them, we see that normal day-to-day things. But when we can't cope and it's becoming long, continuous, then becomes stress. And what determines our expression of it, seen it as stress, is our body resilience. And I'll tell you that we need to build each other's resilience. We parents of today, which I'm part of, we tend not to, our children, we clear those challenges off their way. So they don't get to build their resilience. So sometimes letting them go through, sort themselves out, sometimes, and let's watch them do, could actually help our children build that resilience so that everything that comes their way won't be seen as stress. So we really have to look at stress along that line. Then even in the way for ourselves, we are all learning every day. We should train ourselves coping skills, pro-social skills, decision-making skills. We should learn to look at things dispassionately. My neighbor sent his son to Harvard. Yes, Harvard is a good thing. But do I have to? I desire it. Can I have it?
Can I afford it?
Can I afford it? So we should learn to look at things dispassionately so that we won't just keep stressing ourselves. And when, the way the body works, when the body interprets something, the brain interprets something as stress, it sets things in motion in the body. It's like you see a lion. You say, wow, this is a serious problem. And the next thing is that the body activates a flight and fight response. And this fight and flight response is like there's a problem. Our body works in such a way that it's an organized its system. That when there's a problem, it sees that
it automatically thinks of what to do.
Yes, what to do. So that's the fight and flight response. And what is this fight and flight response? It shuts down some systems and focuses on some systems. Your heart rate begins to increase, your breathing because it needs more oxygen. There's muscle tension, there's increased metabolism. Of course, there'll be blood pressure increase. The body shuts down blood flow, not, of course, totally, reduces it to the extremities. And the blood is directed to the larger muscles. Your vision becomes clearer and sharper. As in, these are the simple things that the body does in the flight and fight response. The reproductive system shuts down. So you see women that are trying to have a baby, the tension, they form this tension in their head. Of course, the body further shuts down the reproductive system. So you can't even achieve the pregnancy. And these are the type of things the body does. And of course, you see people, the immune system too, that they break down, it shuts down the immune system. So that's when you say, I'm stressed, I keep having cold and all this. These are simple things that happen. And of course, the ideal is that the fight and flight response is that there's a temporary problem to be solved. And if this problem now continues, they become deleterious to the person. And these are the things that we're talking about. So let's talk about the sources of this stress. Environment. Talked about traffic, pollution, substandard housing, noise, crowd. What are the social stressors? Parents, spouse, caregiver, employee, employer. These are stresses, things that cause stress to us. Divorce, co-parenting, these are things that sometimes...
Relationship problems.
Financial problems. Meeting deadlines are things that cause...
Especially for people who work in banking industry.
Well...
As marketers or...
Yeah. Well, we all have deadlines, even for ourselves. The type of deadline we set for ourselves. Like him now, he might be setting to marry the 15th wife at the end.
As a chief in the house.
As a chief in the house. Might be, these are things... Deadlines we set for ourselves. Even about the physiological things that happen to us. Getting pregnant, delivering a baby, lack of exercise, poor sleep, illness, menopause, aging.
Empty bank account.
All these things are physiological process. Pregnancy, they are stressors. They are things that would cause stress to us. Then, of course, our thoughts too.
So, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Usually we'll hear people talk about chronic stress. Yeah. And of course, if there's a chronic stress, there must be an acute stress. So what are the differences between chronic and acute stress?
Okay, yeah. I told you that the body has the fight and the flight response.
Okay.
To fight that sudden taxing demand. Of course, and if it becomes prolonged more than necessary, over 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, going to more like months, it becomes a chronic stress. And the body keeps seeing it that way and tries to fight to combat those problems. And
Any
that's
common examples so that we can understand.
okay. Okay. Let's say a guy that his wife got pregnant and told the guy that at the first trimester, that's in the first 3 months, you're going to have 5 babies. And the guy starts, just activates that, wow, this is stress, interprets this as stress. So for the next 5 months, and even afterwards, there would continually be, you would continually see those things as stress. If you continue to see, of course, traffic is stressful for everybody.
Sure.
And your way home every day, the potholes are there, and you keep, it's going to be, for months, it becomes serious stress for people. And so these are the things that we should, that things that would cause stress for people, and we should try and avoid. So these are, well, let's go to symptoms that would encounter when we have stress.
Okay.
The physical symptoms: aches and pains, muscle tension, diarrhea, constipation, nausea and vomiting, loss of sex drive. You can see the man and the woman sleeping
Separately.
apart.
Center can no longer hold.
Yeah, shallow breathing and sweating, frequent colds. I always have catarrh. You see people saying these are symptoms that you know that, wow, there's stress.
Is that supposed to be under stress or just normal? Because for me, I usually have catarrh, like you said.
It might be,
and most times, I think it could, I don't know, at times
allergy.
maybe when, yes.
It could be allergy. But sometimes because people are under constant stress, it breaks down their immune system. And so you see them having constant cold all the time. So you must really be able to say, this is an allergy, or this is stress, this cold is due to stress. Yes. Yeah, some people will not eat, or some will eat more. They'll be with sleeping problems. So then people go to drug use because of stress. And people have neglect responsibilities just because of stress too. And
oftentimes taken to alcoholism and all.
Yes, because they need something
to ease the tension.
Yes, to ease the tension. And of course, using a bad thing to correct another bad thing will not resolve. Yes, it can work.
Okay, Dr. Olajjumoke, let's pause you a bit, because stress now within
As
an
it
average
is.
Nigerian they go through.
Yeah.
So make we open phone lines so that people with their feel call to ask any question that concerns stress. Knowing full well, see our experts we carry come today now. Go on top stress management. Limity.
Yeah, the numbers are there, guys. Please, this is not matter for everybody. As a matter of fact, I know everyone is under stress. It depends on how you see it. Okay, so 08105434985, and of course 08173147589. Please help us kill the volume on your TV set so that we feel relate with now well on top the matter for today.
Okay.
So
ma,
we are still under symptoms.
Symptoms.
I'm sure there are some
Mood.
emotional components.
Yes,
And
moodiness,
psychological
people become
components.
irritable. I spoke to someone and they were telling me that the woman is always shouting on the children. I'm sure no woman would, because you're under so much stress and it's affecting the family. You become so irritable, you inability to relax, you're agitated, you feel overwhelmed. You feel sad and sense of loneliness and isolation. These are mood symptoms of stress. So, you know, the simple things, by the time I go home and I start shouting on everybody, I know that
They're stressed.
I think I should slow down.
Okay, Dr. Olajjumoke, I think I have 2 questions for you. The first one, is there the simple tiredness where person they go through? Can we call it stress? That's
Oil
number
money.
one. Let's have
Should
oil
not
money.
be stressed though with this your name.
Oil money.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Yeah. It has been long as if Vero. What's happening to Vero now?
Vero is not around.
She did leave.
Huh?
She did leave.
She did leave. Okay.
So you get question, you see what we dey treat today?
Yeah. Okay. The topic. What is the topic?
Stress and stress management.
Stress and stress
How
management.
you dey take manage your own stress?
I take manage my own stress.
Yes.
Okay, just keep watching. When you don't sink in, you can now call us back.
Okay.
All right.
The
Thank you.
first
Okay, Chief.
question is, anytime we person tire, All tiredness we refer to stress. Then number 2 is when you talk about the fight or flight theory.
So response.
Response rather. It's the stress response. We know it has to do with adrenaline hormone. Our adrenaline hormone must be involved because when I'm frightened,
you're a doctor already.
The question is when a person is having a shortage in adrenaline hormone, can this really be the reason why people pass out when they are stressed up?
Okay. Well, like you said, there's normal tiredness, which is normal day-to-day tiredness, and which would involve expected to go and sleep. And
are they also stressed? Can we call them stress?
Well, they could be acute. Well, I don't know if you call, there are some day-to-day things that would happen. Well, we could call this stress, and if you are getting overwhelmed, we call it stress, and then there's need for us to shut down, to relax, to activate the relaxation response too, so that we could go back to our normal body system. Yeah.
Okay, so see the question he asked, he said when there is shortage of adrenaline hormone. So it's actually not a shortage, so to say. Okay, so there's a mechanism that usually occur when we're under stress. Okay, there are what we call some stress hormones, catecholamines and cortisol.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Chioma from Abia. Chioma, good morning.
Chioma, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. And you?
I'm fine too, ma.
No, I'm not, ma.
Okay,
so
don't worry.
Go ahead.
Please go on with your question.
Please, I want to know that stress. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
You.
Stress, I normally hear people say that stress can make someone to not to see the period. I want to know if that is true. So I want to know if that is possible, if stress can cause it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yes, because I said in the fight and flight response to stress, the body shuts down things. The idea is to shut down things the body feels is not necessary for now to cope that present taxing demand. And when anybody shuts down the reproductive system, of course you could miss your period. But if you come to me as a young girl that you missed your period, I'll tell you to go and do your pregnancy test.
But it happens now.
Yes, I know.
Delays or it increases.
Yes, I know. Of course, if it's 2-3 days delay, we could.
Fine.
But if you tell me, first thing is, let's check if you're not pregnant. That's the first thing. Because to be sure before we start thinking of something else. Okay. So if a young woman, sexually active young woman tells me that she's missed her period, the first thing I would do is let's do a pregnancy test.
First things first.
First things first, to rule that out. So
thank you very much.
Yeah.
So there's actually a surge of those hormones, okay, stress hormones in the blood, not a decrease, okay, as you were asking the other time. Now, I also have a question. The prevalence of hypertension in our society seems to be on the increase.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can it be traced to the degree of stress that we are seeing in our environment? Also, some people that live in some parts of the world, are they likely to be having more challenging, stressful situation than others?
Okay. It's talk about hypertension and stress. There's this thing I read in the newspaper. Of course, it's not a scientific document, that there are increased number of people developing hypertension in Lagos. Of course, because there's constant, the pressure, the stressors, and is increasing, and that's why. You know, we're talking about increased heartbeat, the system shutting down blood from every other part. These are things that would cause constant stress, could lead to increased blood pressure. So there's no doubt about that. You talked about different parts of the world and exposure to stress. Our interpretation of events too matters. Okay, some of your friends will tell you, but what are you doing in Nigeria? Let's check out. Because they see that.
We have Babatunde.
Sorry, ma, we have Babatunde. Okay. Babatunde, good morning. Good morning today.
I think we lost a call.
Okay, ma. Okay, so we're...
Yeah, so so our interpretation of events too matters. In Nigeria, if I don't have power, if I have power for 15 hours a day, I'm like, wow, bravo. But in some other parts of the world, if there's a power cut for few
They get
hours.
bothered, they get stressed.
This. So it's about. So sometimes it is not about the location. It's about those people in those parts of the world and their interpretation of events. Of course, looking at it from the face value now, that means, well, we should believe that people in this part of the world should have more stressors. But when you get to the other part of this, the European, the so-called places too, you realize that there are other things that stress them.
The funniest part of the story is suicide mission is even
More. Yes,
Yeah.
because their own expectation of themselves is so high. So you can't really judge saying, okay, this no, because it's their expectation, it's their mental interpretation.
Okay, we have Akin. Sorry, ma, we have Akinwumi.
Akinwumi, is this?
Hello?
Good morning, Akinwumi.
It's obviously
Not the Akinwumi. How you doing, ma?
Hello, Chief. I'm okay, sir.
Ẹ káàárọ̀.
I'm calling you from Papa Jawumushi.
Okay. Oh yeah, the doctors are here.
Myself. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Doctor? And I normally, when I get to my house, I say garlic. I have garlic. Garlic, and I soak garlic with some medicine, and I normally take it. So, is it not going to affect you?
Is it what?
Is it likely to affect you?
She takes
Yes.
Garlic.
when she gets to her house. Thank you very much, ma, for that question.
Reduce stress.
We are discussing stress today, okay? But garlic
No,
is not one.
she's actually linking it with when she gets back after the whole day.
That she takes,
She takes garlic,
relax.
soaks it in water, and takes that to relax. Is it also a form of what she can use to reduce stress?
If it works for her, but it's not poisonous. If it works for you, ma, you can go ahead. But
Everyone has
we
become
do
a
know that it
doctor.
is not poisonous to use garlic. Okay, but some people say alternative medical practice, they still talk about the health benefits of such seeds and all that.
Like, I can't
okay?
take smoothie without adding garlic to it.
So
You can.
I can't take
that's what we
smoothie
can say
without
about
adding
that, ma.
garlic to it. Okay.
Okay. So climatic conditions, do they affect or increase the stress in a particular area?
Vis-a-vis the kind of sun we experienced days or weeks ago. Yes.
Seriously. Well, I wouldn't. I've not seen any research, scientific research relating climatic conditions, because you mean winter is better than summer.
Oh, yeah.
We have Peter from Kaduna. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a question.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, I'm a health educator, and
Okay.
I actually had some findings. Yesterday I came back from my ginger and lime. I put the lime into water and powdered the ginger and put it into the same water and boiled everything together. And I took it yesterday night, and this morning I woke up and
You didn't get him.
hello, can you hear me?
No, we didn't get you. Please, can you come again,
We can
please?
just
Turn down the
line.
volume of your TV, sir, so that we can hear you.
Speak louder if you can.
I said I took ginger and lime.
You took ginger and
And
lime
lime.
after you got back from work.
I woke up feeling stressed out. Like I got
You woke up feeling somehow.
this effect of the ginger because
Okay, you woke up feeling stressed out.
I was very, very fine.
Okay, you took ginger and lime when you got back from work, and then you woke up feeling stressed out. All this self-therapy.
Okay.
Okay, just
think,
listen. I
Peter,
think
you
we're
have
able to
just
get
listen.
you a bit.
I think that Peter's question is actually going to also lead to the question I have here that has to do with medicine and management of stress. Ma, in this part of the world, we believe, say, anytime where you get maybe headache or small body pain like this or stress, go at me by parakinetic compound. That's always the usual thing. Is that the best remedy?
But there are
or
times that you
succor
just need to
stress?
sleep.
Or you feel sleeping is even better than this, our ginger, lime, para, whatever.
How effective is nap? Taking a nap, because I know in some parts of the country, where they work, they actually recommend them, even if it's just 5 minutes and all of that. But we don't really do that in this part of Nigeria. I don't know.
Yeah,
So in
well,
this part of
taking
the
a
world.
nap is very good. It's like shutting down, relaxing for like 10-15 minutes. And it helps. I'm sure when you take a nap, you might not I'm sure you would wake up feeling better, feeling refreshed. It's very good. Concerning just taking medication, there are several symptoms of stress in which aches and body pain is just one of it. So you're just removing the symptom. What about the cause? How about the cause? How about the cause of the stress? How about your mental interpretation of things happening around you? How about looking at things dispassionately? How about even the activating the relaxation response, which reverses those body the flight and fight response the body had activated. So for me, of course, you might need to take painkiller for some temporarily, but the cause of the stress is what we should try and deal with at all times, and see, okay, what is causing the stress for me? Is this something I can change? Is this something that I have to learn to live with? You know, these are things that we have to look at dispassionately. Ordinary breathing exercise. You said taking a nap, good. Breathing exercise, mindfulness would help us at least reverse those things, and dealing logically and dispassionately with events would really, really help us.
Okay, so I have a question. Number one is a straightforward one. Can stress be a cause of infertility?
Yes.
Okay. The second one is
yes. Yes.
Now the second one is when we talk about chronic stress, sometimes we have some stressors that are permanently there, more or less stays with the person for, not in all cases that could be a lifelong affair. For instance, someone who's trapped in a marriage that has continued to generate conflict after conflict and conflict after conflict. Are there therapies, scientific therapies, that such couple can actually be placed on to guide against some of the stress that these life events can throw up to them?
Yeah, psychological therapies are very important in solving problems.
Do people usually come for such therapies in Nigeria?
Yes. People that are knowledgeable enough go for therapies, for psychological therapies, and they get better. They improve with it. So it's not everything that's like this example you gave. You know, what medication would stop the fight between a man and a woman? So there are several psychological therapies. But the problem with people is that when you tell them to see a psychologist...
Sorry, sir, we have Asuko. Sorry, ma. Asuko, good morning.
FCT.
Morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine.
Yeah, the doctors are here. Go ahead with your question.
Okay. I want to say that, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
I'm fine.
Turn down your TV volume.
The question I have is, what if a woman's serious disease for some years, can it be attributed to stress?
Like, how old is the woman you are talking about? The woman is how old?
For instance, the woman is 33 years and her serious disease for many years. Can it be attributed to stress?
Well, not seen a period for many years.
33 years.
A 33-year-old woman. The first thing I would think of, you go and see a gynecologist. That would be a better way to go about it. And when they've ruled out every other thing that might be a cause, then we might start. And of course, along we might still think of psychological symptoms, but I won't attribute that one to stress. Just stress and wave it off.
Sorry, ma, just a question. I don't know, just want to learn. Can 33-year-old enter menopause?
Definitely. There are some precocious menopause. Just the same way there's precocious puberty, there's precocious menopause.
At 33?
Yes. Okay. But the thing is that you have to rule out that there are no other medical problems. When those things have been ruled out, and then, yes, there's something called precocious menopause. There's something called... So, yes, it's just the same way I say a 5-year-old starts, and a 6-year-old. These are precocious. That's a disease that could be corrected. So you might need to see a doctor, a specialist for such things. We should not just attribute everything to stress. We should just not assume.
Okay, Dr. Bat actually said something when he was introducing you, when he mentioned diabetes. He mentioned, I know of stroke, I know of hypertension, as one of the leading, when it comes to stress, at least you attribute them to that. Now, I want to ask, really, does it have anything to do with diabetes?
Diabetes is, well, I won't say directly, really, because For me, it's a disease of the blood. It's a blood sugar, the blood sugar content problem. Yes. And I might not find a direct link, but for me, there's never in medicine, seriously. So, as a clinician, but you might have to see a specialist. We can't just sit in someone and be attributing everything to stress. So when you have symptoms, please see a specialist, please see a doctor to help you out. And at the same time, we need to watch our stress level.
Okay. Now, how do we reconcile these two? This is a question that has been agitating my mind, even as a doctor. Oftentimes, when we are faced with stressors, life challenges, we usually allude spirituality to them, spiritual undertones. So instead of thinking about should there be a medical solution to this, we are first moved towards that direction. And after a lot of efforts must have been made along that line, if no good outcomes or no good results are on our way, we tend to get frustrated. Now, how do we reconcile that with the type of mentality we have in this part of the world? How do we reconcile the two?
Okay. I was in a church yesterday and they were asking this question. And I keep telling them that, look, your day-to-day life is in God's hands. So everything, my coming here today is spiritual. And even if you have a medication...
Sorry to interrupt.
Pat,
from
good
Lagos.
morning. Good morning, Pat.
Hello, good morning, sir.
How you doing?
Fine, not bad, sir.
Okay.
I want to ask a question from the doctor wearing suits.
Okay.
Suits. Okay. Back.
Doctor.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Oh.
You have to try call us back.
Call us back. Right. Okay,
so our day-to-day life is...
You're talking about the church.
Yes. Our day-to-day life is in God's hand. So the pathway to care in this part of the world is just funny. You go to the church. And I said, who made the medication?
God.
Who created the doctor?
God.
Who gave the doctor the knowledge?
God.
When I want to speak, when you want to talk to your friend in another country, do you just pray that your friend should know what's in your mind?
No.
You pick your phone and call. So why not go to the right person and let the person help you, and you'd pray that everything works well. And that's the spiritual part for me. Not if I want to, why am I wearing this clothes? Is it not technology?
That's a good one.
I won't pray that you should know my thoughts. I would give you a call. Let's see in this place. So why can't I pray that you should know where we should meet? Is God not in it?
He can, but we won't do it.
We won't do it.
So why?
Okay, Mark, the question I want to ask, funny as it seems, but it's practical. I observe that most times when they grow up, our fathers, when they come back like this, maybe for evening, they go put mat for ground, they will now lie down. They go say, make we stay for their back. At times, we go what we call
exercise, relaxation exercise.
What do they call is it
massage?
Massage.
Yes.
What did they call massage today? Our parents to put them as young as we wear them, we go work out for their back, and you go to switch them and everything. Can we also call that a simple or a domestic means of managing stress?
Yes, it's not rocket science, but it would work. The old man, is simply massaging himself. Muscle relaxation.
Something similar to acupuncture and
maybe
whatever.
yoga or something. Mindfulness.
Yoga,
muscle relaxation. We talk about exercise. That's a very simple. So it's not, like I said, it's not rocket science.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Mr. Lucky from Taraba.
Lucky, how you doing?
Fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead with your question, Lucky.
Hello. My question is, I want to know if this stress...
Can you raise your voice, sir?
Yeah, fine. Good morning.
Can you increase your voice, please? Speak up a bit.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning. My question is, I want to know if this stress... Hello?
Yeah.
Do they hear you?
You need to be a bit louder, sir.
Okay, so I want to know if this stress of a thing that you guys are discussing about is can effect of making love, maybe 2 minutes you are done.
Okay.
I want to know
Making it too quick ejaculation.
It.
Okay, thank you very much.
Say
Lucky, we got your
responsible
question.
for a man that does just 2 minutes.
Maybe you should.
Yeah. Or maybe Dr. Bad, you should even start by letting us know. Is 2 minutes is it a problem? Because everybody keeps saying
quick
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
ejaculation, more like.
Let's take the man's question. My answer to his question is yes, and I will explain the reason. Yeah. Now, sometimes when you're in a challenging situation, when you're faced with some form of stressors, for instance, your landlord has given you a quick notice, and you have a court papers on your door that you must leave that building, that house, by a particular date. Okay? And you're just like 24 hours to the deadline you have been given to pack out of the place, or else your properties will be thrown out in the open air. Okay, so at that moment in time, if you're a man or you're a woman, what you'll be thinking of will not be your sex drive will not be killed. It will not be there.
Very correct.
Okay, so the drive would have been dealt with. That what will be uppermost in your mind is, how do I extricate myself out of this unfortunate incident? Not to. So the drive is usually not there in such situations.
But when it becomes regular, doctor.
Yes. When it becomes regular.
So that you won't think it's everything that is stress.
No. Okay. When it becomes regular, you
will
will
the drive
need
be
to
there at all?
Yes.
To even, will the drive be there at all? That's the first thing. Okay. I would want to. Will the drive?
The libido will not be there. So okay, but when you encounter that on frequent basis, you may need to see a urologist for further evaluation, so that we can't just say every medical condition is caused by stress.
I wouldn't want us to digress here. I would just want you to eat this on the air. Dr. Bat,
okay.
Every 2 minutes, everybody keeps shouting 2 minutes. Is 2 minutes a disease? You as an expert, 2 minutes of good sex making, is it not okay?
2 minutes is 120 seconds.
Depending. What I will have to say is that as individuals, our desires vary. Okay. What satisfies her may not be what satisfies another woman. So it can differ from one person to the other, depending on what the person intends to achieve. So for whether it is 2 minutes or 2 hours, once it's okay with the couple, I don't think there should be a challenge in that. Wow. Okay, so that's the way I will interpret that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yes. So going back to the symptoms you mentioned, what are the emotional symptoms of stress? And also, are there psychological symptoms of stress? Okay, what are the ways, practical ways, that we can cope with stress in our environment?
Okay. Well, let me first answer I talked about the symptoms, being moody, and those other, being irritable, inability to relax. Yes, feeling overwhelmed, being sad could be symptoms of stress. And memory problems, I can't find my key. Inability to concentrate, poor judgment.
Disabilities.
Yes. Well, not learning this. I wouldn't call it learning disability is something like mental retardation, and that's what.
How about amnesia?
I know that's a big one. But memory problems, not knowing where your keys are, these are the type of things that would happen with stress. And what's the answer? Regulation response. Things as simple as mindfulness, what that old man did, muscle relaxation exercises could really help us. Deep breathing, sitting down, taking deep breaths, breathing and breathing out slowly. Self-massage could really help.
Somebody of course, talked about looking into the mirror, looking at oneself on
reflection.
The mirror.
Well, maybe imagery. That's another imagery. That's another system. Yes, and it's something that people would now ask you: is it that simple? Of course, when you have looking at issues dispassionately, would help you. There's always traffic on my way to work. How do I avoid this traffic? I can't afford this. And sometimes in life, we're not actually chasing the real things. We're just chasing, just
if I can't avoid it, how do I cope with it?
Yes, how do I cope with it? These are realistic ways, logical ways of looking at issues. So it's not just rocket science. It's not about taking all the medication. You should, of course.
Okay, Pat is calling back. Good.
Wow, Pat.
Okay, please. Good morning. Thanks for calling again, Pat.
Okay.
All right, please go on.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
I want to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
About if you're having a constant headache,
Constant headache. Like if somebody has a BP. So, but every day you have constant headache every day. So, what causes it? What are we going to do about it?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Pat. I will take the question. Now, if you have constant headache, number one is that there are a number of things that can cause headaches in our environment. Malaria can cause headache, severe one. Typhoid can also give you headache. Hypertension oftentimes do not present with symptoms, but in some cases, when they do, headache may be one of them. Stress that we are discussing today can sometimes give tension headache. Migraine can equally cause headache. So you need to actually go to the hospital for further evaluation so that they can actually make out or determine the cause of your own headache. If it is your BP that is elevated, that will be tackled, and of course, the headache will go. Thank you very much, sir.
So people don't attribute everything to stress. People must learn to go to the hospital to see their doctor, so that medical symptoms, physical symptoms would be removed, and they're like, okay, wow, now that we have checked and checked and checked, maybe it could be stress, and they would deal with it. So we should not just sit in a...
Okay. Also, why I was also preparing for this presentation, I read about a recent research or study that showed that more than 75% of clinic visits by individuals all over the world are related to stress. Now, my question is, how often as clinicians do we make diagnosis along this line?
She got to come back.
Okay. Well, the first thing, one for the clinician, I would want to check out to rule out every other symptoms.
Yes, the common ones.
The common ones, the things that could easily kill the person. Those are the things I would want to rule out first before trying to look at other causes which could be stress. So even on the clinician's part too, we must learn to know that not everything is hard medication.
Okay.
You know, and these are the things we should know that, look, not everything is medication. They might just need to talk to our patients, psycho-educate them on what to do and what not to do to help them. And of course, our patient gets better. But sometimes when you just psycho-educate a patient and you say, this is my bill, the patient will not feel that, what has the doctor done?
Thank you. So we want to say a big thank you to Dr. Mrs. Jumoke Koyejo for coming. And Slimity, what do you say to our viewers at home and around the world?
See you guys again.
I'm from Chief.